2014 was a crazy year to be an Angry Birds fan. Rovio had just released Angry Birds Stella and Angry Birds Transformers, and the year before those, we got Angry Birds Go and Angry Birds Star Wars 2. Angry Birds was peaking in popularity, but up until that point, all of their games, besides Bad Piggies, were slingshot games, which are the classic Angry Birds formula. Then, in 2013, they released Angry Birds Go, a kart racer which had the Angry Birds branding, but it was a totally different style of game. In 2014, they released Angry Birds Transformers, which was a run-and-gun game, and in the same year, they gave us something truly epic. Angry Birds Epic was the first ever RPG game in the Angry Birds franchise. Guess what else is an RPG?
Raid Shadow.
And much like Angry Birds Fight, which was developed by another company, Epic was also made in collaboration between Rovio and Chimera Entertainment, a German video game studio who weren't really known for anything huge. Their biggest game at that time was Bloodstroke, which was bombed by the critics. But this time, they were going to make an Angry Birds RPG, so hopes were high. And they cooked. The soft launch trailer was posted to YouTube in March of 2014, which was 11 years ago by the way, and after some time, the game itself was finally launched in June of 2014. The story here is about this new pig called Prince Porky and Wizpig, who is technically Chef Pig with a wizard hat, stealing the eggs, and now you need to get them back. Classic Angry Birds lore, which is kind of vanilla for this type of game. Right from the start, the game gives you these cutscenes which look really cool. And this game was also the first game in the franchise to use the updated Toons designs, which are basically the classic designs with more detail. But do you remember those test flight leaks from a few years ago? Well, in those leaks, there was also a 2012 version of Angry Birds Epic that used the classic designs. That's kind of funny. But what truly is Angry Birds Epic? At its core, Angry Birds Epic is a turn-based RPG, meaning every fight plays in rotations. You have a turn to attack the enemies or put your defense up, and then the enemies are also gonna do the same thing. Typical turn-based gameplay, we're not reinventing the wheel here. But compared to most games these days, it's actually done in a really simple way. The birds are on the left side, the pigs are on the right. You drag your finger from a bird to a pig to attack them, or drag your finger from a bird to another bird to give them a buff. Each bird also has a unique special move which you can activate by giving them this chili pepper that charges up whenever you deal or take damage. So in a game like this, you would expect it to have a lot of characters with different mechanics, right? Well, this game has a grand total of 5 birds. The first one being Red, who is your tank, then you unlock Chuck, who is a mix of damage dealer and trickster. After Chuck, you get Matilda, which is your healer. The fourth bird you unlock is Bomb, who is the main damage dealer. And the last birds are the Blues, who are like a mix of Bomb and Chuck. And to make up for the small cast of characters, you have different classes, which are these hats. Each class changes every mechanic that a bird has. For example, Chuck's first class is Mage. With his attacks, he deals 20 damage to all enemies, and with his defensive ability, he gives a shield that deals damage to the enemies that attack that bird. The second class you buy for him is called Lightning Bird. With his attacks, he now has a chance to remove helpful effects from the pigs, and with his defensive ability, he can make another bird launch their attack. By holding your finger on any bird or pig, you can see what kind of abilities they have, and you can even see the enemy line up before entering a level. Which means you're gonna be swapping classes and planning your setup a lot, because this game has a ton of enemies with different mechanics and traits. But here's the thing, there are simply not enough base model pigs. You're gonna see the same 5 pig types over and over again, just with new clothes or different mechanics. Is that the Italian plumber guy? Speaking of difficulty, which I absolutely did not, this game has quite the challenge. It's not like Elden Ring level of crap or anything, but it's not easy either. There seems to be some level of balance, but there's also not really any of it. So there's this pig, right? It's called Alpha Pig. It's a pig with a fucking stick. But somehow, he has 20 million hit points and does a truckload of damage. He is in the cave levels though, which are basically an extra way to play after you finish the main story. And for a 2014 mobile game, this game is packed with content. Besides the main story and caves, there were also dungeons you could grind to get materials. There was also an arena. Come on, you want me to explain the fucking arena? It's PvP. And we finally have the events, and believe it or not, this game had a Sonic Dash event once. Before Sega bought Rovio, they collaborated once in Sonic Dash and Angry Birds Epic. In Epic, we got a class for Chuck, a new environment, and enemies from the Sonic universe. Sonic was even a playable character in this event, and in Sonic Dash, we got Red, Bomb, and Chuck as playable characters. And when you're using them, the game also plays Angry Birds Epic music instead of Sonic Dash. Speaking of music, this game, it has one of the best soundtracks that has blasted the speakers of my dad's Samsung Galaxy J5. But when you reach the cave levels, things become kind of pay to win. You can, without a doubt, finish this game as a free-to-play, but in these cave levels, there are like 20 waves of pigs, each with their own mechanics, and you're gonna need some really specific classes and gear. Some of this gear can be crafted, but the rest needs you to gamble your rent away. This game, very similarly to Angry Birds Fight, has a crappy gacha system for getting different classes and weapons. We had Angry Birds gacha games before gacha games were cool. Damn. And that's Angry Birds Epic, a really well-made game for its time that still holds up after almost 12 years. But let's see what Rovio is working on right now. What the fuck is this? Who asked for another match 3 game? My gosh! Anyways, if you don't want to give all your money to Rovio, you can use my creator code in Angry Birds 2. They even gave me this funny animation to use, and by the way, the code expires every 7 days, so make sure to re-enter it. Thanks to the people who used my code in the past month, and have a great day.